Hello and welcome to this series of short videos on networking provided by the UC Berkeley Career Center. When it comes to the topics to be addressed as part of a successful job search, everyone has heard of networking and, in theory at least, knows how important it is. However, in practice, many job seekers misunderstand networking or avoid it completely. These videos have been designed to help you adopt networking as a key component of your job search, whether it is for an internship, your first regular job, or a job change later in your career. I have broken the topic of networking into 5 sections. In this first part, we'll be looking at the rationale and importance of networking. In part 2, we will look at some resources to help you get started or to kick your networking up a gear. Not all networking is created equal, so in part 3 we will look at networking phases, followed in part 4 with some ideas about networking conversations. Some job seekers build a network while they're looking for a job. Then, when they're busy with life, they let this hard-won network go cold. In the final section, we'll be looking at ways to keep your network warm. So, let's start by looking at the rationale and purpose of networking. There are 3 high-level components that contribute to a successful job search. Clarity means something different depending on where you are in your job search. When you are uncertain about the role you're targeting, clarity means gaining information you need to help you determine what's right for you. It means identifying what questions you need to ask so people know how they can help you. Once you become more focused on what is right for you, the questions become more focused about the role, the organization, and the industry or sector. You don't have to do this alone. There are practitioners and alumni only too willing to help. The knack is being able to identify and cultivate these connections. These connections can help educate you by sharing their knowledge and insights. You are in competition with other job seekers for the attention of employers, and you can increase your competitiveness by using the knowledge and insights you gain from your connections. Combining these 3 C's lead to your professional success. Before we get into the detail of networking, let's understand why it's so important. If we were consultants advising a client company about launching a new product, we'd first want to understand the market, how customers respond to messages, what needs they have, and so on. As part of launching you into a career, it is equally important you understand the job market. In reality, there are 2 job markets. The visible market consists of all the jobs you see on Handshake, company job boards, career fairs, LinkedIn, and other job boards like Indeed, Simply Hired, Monster, Craigslist, and more. Job seekers see these, usually online, apply, usually online, get 1, 2, or 3 interviews, and hopefully get an offer. A simple, straightforward process. What percentage do you think are filled following this simple process? 10%? 30%? 40%? 60%? 80%? Job seekers, mid-career and students alike, are often shocked when they learn that the visible job market comprises only 20% of the jobs filled. This seems to be a historically high number. For example, when the dot-com bubble burst back in 2000-2001, this number dropped as low as 4 or 5%. The question you should be asking at this stage is, how do I get into the hidden job market? Before I answer that, I want to show you what's underpinning this pie chart, something I call the life of a job. Before a job exists, the organization is unaware of the need. Then someone or something makes them aware of the need. They look at different options, and the option we're interested in is where they create a job or internship. If you were the hiring manager, where would you look to fill it? How about people you already know and trust? In other words, people in their close network. If they still have no suitable candidates, they ask their close network if their networks know of anybody interested, so they search their wider network. If they still haven't filled or found good candidates, human resources get involved to define and publish a job posting. The level of competition we face varies over the life of a job, so let's plot it. Let's show from very low to very high over the life of a job. Where do you think it is at the start of the job's life on the left-hand side of this diagram? Very low. It might only be you at the beginning, then there may be 2 or 3 others over time. So then suddenly the absence of a job posting is replaced by the presence of a job posting, and competition suddenly goes crazy. Now everybody and their dog know about the job. When that happens, where would you rather be? Posted jobs? OCR, on-campus recruiting, where the first round interviews take place on campus, or ahead of the competition by following your own self-directed job search? While other candidates are prepared to wait for the limited information provided by most job postings, your research can be gaining insights about what they really want, how their culture drives everyday life, and discovering the characteristics of previous successful hires. When your target company does post a job, your application can be far more relevant than applications from candidates relying on just the posting. Of course, when you are pursuing your self-directed job search, the information is flowing both ways. Not only are you getting information, they're getting information about you. For example, they are learning whether they can trust you. Will you fit into their team well? Do you have the skills they're looking for? Are you a quick and fast learner? Put yourself in the position of the hiring manager. Would you give the job to a relative stranger when you've met someone you've only met in 1 or 2 30-minute interviews? Or would you give the job to someone you've known for weeks or months and someone who checks most of the boxes? I think it's a fairly simple answer. But you're not the hiring manager, you're the candidate. Where would you rather focus your efforts? On-campus recruiting, job postings, or self-directed job search? The real answer should be OCR and postings and self-directed. At this point, many students ask, how do I kickstart my self-directed job search? Find some useful resources in the next part of this video series. I hope to see you there.